Greetings from Tribal Knowledge Base. Today we're going to be going through a high-level overview of what the Tribal Knowledge Base is and why it's there, some things that we've done so far, and then go through really a key piece of troubleshooting that we want to kind of highlight today, and then show you the big picture and give you a personal example of what happened with my team when we started focusing on this particular piece of the troubleshooting. So today's document, if you want to kind of pull that up as we start talking, the document that we're going to be talking about today is document 1492, and we'll kind of get to that document here in a second. But right now, I know that you can't see the whiteboard very well, but it just kind of keeps me on target. Why Tribal Knowledge Base, and why did we create this website? We created the website so we could get everyone together, sharing best practices and figuring out where the missing piece was in the troubleshooting and how our IOCR was always 2 to 3%, sometimes even higher than that, of the top site, and how can we really collaborate together to try to figure out this IOCR beast and tackle it. So what are some controllables that we have when we talk about IOCR? When we talk about IOCR, the first thing that comes to mind is knowledge for me, which was one of the big reasons why I created this site, so everyone could have the same type of knowledge and you're not having to wait to move between leaders to get the different pieces of knowledge. We all can kind of collaborate together and get all of our knowledge on one piece so we can all get it without having to shift around and wait for coachings with that particular person that's good with that. You can watch a video in your free time. So that was really the first thing with IOCR, was creating the site. And when you're talking about knowledge, it's really just being able to create an expert persona by being able to talk through the whys behind what you did to fix it. Why this one step fixed your Wi-Fi calling issue. The knowledge behind the network and how that works is the only way you're going to be able to explain the why. But that's kind of getting ahead of ourselves with the troubleshooting, explaining the why behind something or how we fixed it before we even are in the beginning of the call. So the next thing we could do that's a controllable is we actually just call the customer back to test and make sure that it's working. That creates more work, less callbacks in your bucket, just hurts your IOCR in theory, just because you're not taking as many calls. Then we have the call flow, specifically a controllable that we talk about all the time. Hit this piece. We create smart plans around the call flow. So really what in the call flow helps you with IOCR? The three big things that come out to me are tools, and those tools are Grand Central, Scope of Support, which we've done a video on before. Those tools are Apple Knowledge Base that you can get into and send those KB articles and look on the Apple support. Because we're Apple trained representatives, we do look at that Apple support before we get them to Apple. We can always do a recap, but the recap at the end of the call, really, I mean, we need to seek first to understand, then to be understood and be fixing these issues. And we really can't be an expert if we don't know the root cause of the issue, right? And really, when we say be an expert, it's not be an expert of the technology, it's be an expert technically. So we want to be a technical expert, not a technology expert. With as fast as this stuff moves and with as many operating systems as we have, it's not going to be that you know every single thing about every single phone. I can assure you that I don't either, and no other senior in the building does either. But we can technically be experts and know how to work through the call flow process, how to work through T-Community, how to work through Grand Central, and specifically how to ask the right questions. So going through that, asking the right questions, I really want to kind of talk about my team and give an example of that. Our team was really focused on getting that knowledge to be able to explain how you fixed it and why, and then that recap at the end to really make sure we're testing, make sure that we have everything in a row and the customer knows what's going on. But one thing that we weren't doing was going at the beginning of the call and making sure that we were asking enough questions to really get to that root cause. To give you an example, when we were focusing on recaps, 2 weeks ago our IOCR was 26% that week. Then we switched up and switched into probing questions. And last week our IOCR was 20%, and now with even more focus, this week so far we're running 18% IOCR. So I think that a lot of this just comes down to asking the right questions and trying to figure out how many questions have I actually asked this customer, and have I determined if it was an account setup, a device setup, memory issue, coverage issue. So what piece of the puzzle was broken? And how do we know that? We know that by drilling down with probing questions. So one thing to kind of tie this back to is when you are frustrated because at the end of a troubleshooting flow, you have no idea where you're going. So you stop and you go ask your senior. If you notice when you ask your senior doesn't go and just start giving you an answer, because really we don't have enough information yet. We start asking questions. And usually when we're asking those questions, there's one or two of those questions we don't have the answer to. So one thing that we should really strive to do is make sure that we're asking the right questions before we put them on hold and before we come down to I've tried everything, because if it's not fixed, we haven't tried everything, right? That's one mentality, the power of positive thinking. We can fix it if we just drill a little bit more, ask a couple more probing questions. With those probing questions, there will be a new link on the site with hold tactics, where it'll give you a list of questions to ask before you put a customer on hold to make sure that you're trying to drill down there. Not saying that all the questions are on there, but it'll definitely help you out. Please use it. Let me know how it goes. Realistically, if you ask the right probing questions up front and ask them in a timely manner, even if those couple questions get that CRT up a little bit in the beginning, the CRT that you're going to save at the end, the IOCR hits that you're going to save at the end, and the MyVOC scores, because you're fixing the right issue and you're getting to the root cause quickly, you'll see the improvements just like we have on our team. Thank you for listening, and hope you enjoy the video.